Hi everybody, Robert Dyer, and welcome to the Robert Dyer channel, Christmas Countdown, after Christmas Countdown, more Christmas spirit than can be contained in 25 days, and I venture to say this is the only media outlet still providing the Christmas spirit this far into January, as we continue with the After Christmas Countdown. And I'm very excited today because here we have a new beginning for the Star Wars universe, a new chapter that I believe takes place about 200 years before the Phantom Menace, and it's basically between the time of Darth Bane and the Phantom Menace, and they're calling it the High Republic as opposed to the Old Republic, and it's going to be an all new era of Star Wars that we don't yet know much about. Now, the main novel that's come out, there's several books being released at the same time. That is about $20 right now, and that's just too much for me to pay for a novel. So I decided to get this $4.95 book that's called The Great Jedi Rescue, and this book covers in about 24 pages a lot of the same ground as part one of the Light of the Jedi novel. That's also the High Republic, and it also includes stickers, so it's definitely a more of a children's level book. But what I like about it is not only the price and the introduction to this High Republic era, but also, unlike the text novels, they're actually showing what some of these characters look like here, and some of them look quite familiar. As you can see here in the front, we obviously have a Wookiee, and on the left we have a guy that I think we've seen back in the cantina scene years ago, but now he's taken quite a level up in stature as a Jedi. I believe he's an, how do you say it, Ithorian, and I don't know what background the gentleman on the right is, but we're going to find out, I imagine. Just a word of warning is that despite the short length of this book, there are by nature spoilers ahead, both for this book and for the other books, and in so much as this is covering some of the same ground as the early parts of the Light of the Jedi novel, so this will be spoilers perhaps for that, even though it doesn't go into the detail that the Light of the Jedi book does. So just a word of warning, spoilers ahead. Get out now if you don't want to spoil any element of the High Republic. But we're just taking a look here to see, do you want to get this book, and is this era of any interest to you, and perhaps this video might help you make that decision. Now, right here in the front you have your first page of stickers, and I have to say that the pages are quite nice in this book for only $4.95. A nice glossy paper, and here you can see a ship going through space, and this is the Legacy Run, a Republic starship, and it looks quite different from any ship I've seen before in Star Wars. And here we have a very nice scene here illustrated right as the story begins. The Legacy Run is apparently transporting settlers to the edge of the galactic frontier, and this is Captain Hedda Cassett. And I don't know who this guy is other than he's the navigator. As you can see, there's a problem. They're about to hit a starship in hyperspace. I have to say, this kind of looks like it would be a meme on the internet. If you take a close look, make your own captions, but you really gotta zoom in on this guy to see why it would be a good meme. He looks like he's got a stocking pulled over his head and neck like he's about to rob a bank, and this totally panicked expression on his face. And here he's got these long gloves, but it turns out everybody's got these on board the ship. Now I have to say the captain's uniform is pretty sharp in this picture. It actually looks more like a First Order or Imperial uniform in some ways. I don't really think of the Republic dressing like this, but certainly saying something about this period, that it's such a sharp, militaristic type of uniform. I don't know how that'll play out. And so then you can see she tries to take the ship out of hyperspace. And then you got these two kind of goofy looking guys back here that are just hanging on for dear life. Zoinks! Hang on, Scoob! So the upshot is apparently the Legacy run is torn apart by coming out of hyperspace so fast, and it sends a passenger compartment and cargo in different directions, and so they're going to apparently crash land. All these compartments are falling to the surface of Hetzel Prime. I guess this is going to be an important planet in the beginning of the High Republic. So obviously the people on Hetzel Prime are kind of shaken up about this situation. This is when Jedi Master Avar Kriss, if that's how you say it, Avar Kriss, does the little Princess Leia gimmick here, appearing on the hologram to tell them this is a Jedi, help is on the way. And I gotta point out, if you look at this console here, it looks an awful lot like R2-D2. I don't know if that's intentional or not. And you're also seeing these mountains here in the background. That's your first impression, and some trees back here. So it's not like you're on Coruscant or some very urban area. I also noticed this gentleman with the goatee, he has a particular medallion on. I don't know if there's any significance to that will come out in any of the books. So here you have a very nice illustration again, and this is a Jedi long beam that is arriving for what I guess they call the Great Jedi Rescue. This larger ship is putting out several of these vectors, smaller starfighters, and then here you can see one of the compartments flying around, a lot of debris. So you've already seen Jedi Master Avar Kriss, and now these are the other ones coming into play here. There's this blue one called Taami, who, I don't know what it is in the High Republic about having a stocking pulled over your head. There are apparently lots of banks to rob in this era. And there you've got our Ithorian. His name is, I don't know how they pronounce that, M-I-K-K-E-L, Michael or Mikkel. Then you've got the Wookiee. His name is Buryaga, and he's the Padawan of this Lorne Green looking character who's actually a old woman, white hair, Nib Asek. They're each in separate starfighters. Now here I think we have probably the other great illustration in this book, maybe the best one, is down the surface of Hetzel Prime, and you have Jedi Master Loden Greatstorm and his Padawan Bel Zettifar master the Pan Flute. And it says that they saw these farmers are desperately trying to get into this big hangar back here, and from orbit in space they saw this, and they just decide to jump out of their vectors and drop down like Superman here. And over there on the left you can see the Grand Mountains and the forest. And so you hear about farmers, you see a forest, mountains, you see green grass there at the surface level. And so you have some pretty futuristic looking buildings, but you've also got the sense that this is a agricultural world, not a bustling metropolis. Just to zoom in, here the soldiers are blocking the doors here for the farmers trying to get in. You got practically a riot going on. And meanwhile, up in space, the plan is to use these cables here, attach on to this compartment, which is the passenger compartment, and then the Jedi are going to use force powers to try to push it so that it changes course. Back on the surface, some pirates appear. It's kind of a strange development, and they're attacking the crowd. What you'll notice, oddly enough, is they are on speeder bikes. And even more odd, the speeder bikes are identical to the ones we saw in Return of the Jedi, which doesn't make any sense chronologically in how these pirates got a hold of an Imperial speeder bike before the Imperial age. There's a little continuity problem there, I think. Guns blazing, and then this sets up some action here with blasters ricocheting off of the lightsabers. And apparently the guards back here are so impressed that the Jedi have put their lives at stake to help these people they don't even know, that they said they'll now let them in to the hangar, the farmers. And here's a more detailed image of Avar Kriss appearing on as a hologram. You see this sort of a, I don't know what you call that, piece of jewelry, the blue stone in the center. So then things take a turn even for the worse when this compartment filled with hyperfuel is going to go into this one of the suns here, which is going to cause a disaster apparently. And so all the Jedi put their heads together, and apparently from something I read, this is going to be a facet of the High Republic, is the ability of the Jedi in this time to get great power from joining together using the Force. So this, even though this is just a small little book, that possibly key element is coming out in this. That was a close one, and here you can see these little, I don't know what they are, something that hold individual parts of the fur that are coming down. And here you see the sign of the Padawan shown there, a little braid coming down. And then finally you get a nice look at another major set piece for this era, apparently, is the Starlight Beacon. And this is a space station that's out on the edge of the galaxy. And apparently it's brand new. It's just been constructed, and there was a story in the Star Wars Insider, which is a magazine that's very much worth buying, and a pretty fair price too. and there was a story in there about the actual final hours before the construction was completed. And so finally you have some kind of a ribbon cutting ceremony going on here for the Starlight Beacon. And one of the things I noticed is that a couple of the people, at least, we did not see in this book. This guy here, kind of a lizard guy, and this guy over here with a beard. And then there's two that are too far away to make out who they are. But, so I imagine they will be in the other books. It's a very nice detail here. Got some symbols that may come to light in future chapters. And that's really the draw of this book, is that you're going to be able to see the symbols and see the character's appearance. And sometimes in the books, some of the authors do a better job than others in describing all these different alien creatures, and so it's nice to have an idea of what they look like, because unlike if you're just reading a classic novel in English literature or something, the appearance is going to be important down the road in graphic novels and possibly shows on Disney Plus or something like that. So the characters aren't going to ultimately be defined by your imagination. They're going to be shown at some point. So it's nice to have this little primer to see who is who in this new era. And then here you've got some more stickers in the back. So I would say that of the characters we're introduced to here, I think the two that are most interesting are this guy and Avalor Chris. We want to know more about what their backstory is and what's going on here. And overall, I would say that this is certainly worth picking up at the price it is, for the kind of introduction and illustration to get a better handle on what this era is and what everything looks like in this era, what the uniforms are like, the way people dress. And then you have also a great picture in your mind when you get the other books of exactly what Hetzel Prime looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and give this, I think I'm going to give it 4 stars. It was better than I expected. The downside is that there weren't any great villains in this book. I'm sure there will be in the other books that are more expensive, which I'll be getting over time. But Star Wars really needs a great Sith or some other villain, so it would have been nice to have something like that in here, but this is really focused on the Jedi. So I hope you like this video, share it with your friends, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time on this Christmas countdown. Bye everybody.